Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Just to tie a quick bow on the Model YL conversation, there were even more nice features of this new vehicle that came out after the last episode. Like the third row seats do indeed fold down independently. The third row also has a motorized recline feature. The motorized armrests for the captain's seats are indeed pinch proof. There are two USB ports and retractable cup holders for the captain's chairs and two USB ports for the third row. And many more that I reposted over on X, like how you can control all of the seats from the main user interface on the front screen. Or how about this innovation? When you lift the trunk lid to get to the sub trunk in the back, there's now a magnetic feature that holds it up so you don't have to hold it up with your other hand anymore. And guess what? If the third row seats are down, there are these little stoppers you can flip up to also hold it in place, even in the event that magnetic option won't work because the third row seats are folded flat. And that lid, or the cover for the sub trunk, you can see when you initially fold the third row seats down, there is a gap. However, as you're about to see, that piece comes out completely. You can flip it around, and then you can have a flush floor between the trunk area and the third row when it's laid flat. There are airbags in the third row. The wireless charging pad now has fans so your phones don't overheat, along with faster charging speeds. So truly, the Model YL is much closer to a total vehicle refresh than it is just a bigger Model Y option. The initial reports as of yesterday were that there were over 40,000 reservations already for the new Model YL. Wes from Tesla said at 183 centimeters, which converts to 6 feet tall, he sat in the back of the Model YL and said there's about a flat hand width between his head and the glass. Now, Wes didn't specify, but I'm assuming he was sitting in the third row when it was fully erect, meaning if he were to actually recline the third row, again, which is a power feature, he may have a few extra inches. So, in my opinion, this was an incredible job by the Tesla team. I really had my expectations too low for how much we were going to see get upgrades in this vehicle. Which brings us to an uncomfortable comment about the Model YL from Elon. He said this variant of the Model Y does not start production in the US until the end of next year. It might not ever, given the advent of self-driving in America. First, the elephant in the room, is Elon just trying to avoid the Osborne effect for the current Model Y lineup in the United States? My initial reaction is absolutely, this is at least part of why Elon said what he said. Here's the problem. If that is the case, and the Model YL does come to the United States much sooner than that, again, maybe later this year or Q1 of next year, as a consumer of Tesla products, personally, I would be very upset if I was in the market looking for a new Tesla vehicle, and I'm now making decisions based off of what would effectively be a lie from Elon. So we can't just glaze over this comment from Elon and say, oh, it's fine, he's just trying to save current Model Y sales, because we have plenty of people in the market trying to make a wise buying decision. So for me, Osborne or not, I would rather Elon not play games like this, but again, that is if that's what we have here. On the other hand, there's a very real chance this is just the truth. Tesla doesn't plan to make this vehicle for another year plus. And if the Robotaxi ride-hail rollout goes very well over the next 12 to 18 months, then the Model YL may never come to the US. A few things here. Number one, I am of the camp that I believe many people will want to own their vehicle no matter what happens with autonomy for at least the next few years. I am one of those people. I said this on X. I want to walk outside, get in my car with my stuff. I don't want to have to plan ahead. I don't want to have to wait. I want to get in my car and then decide if I want to drive or if I want it to drive me. I said I have no intention of hailing a car thousands of other people have been in and have done who knows what in every time I want to go somewhere. And listen, I'll grant you, I am incredibly spoiled and blessed to be able to own our vehicles outright. But I'll be honest, I've grown accustomed to my car with all of my sports gear for hoops, soccer, golf, pickleball, etc. all in my car ready at all times, no matter where I'm at. I don't want to have to carry this in and out every time I want to use it. And yes, I get it, first world problems. But how about parents, car seats, strollers, diaper bags, things that may stay in the car a lot of the time? Lugging these around every time they hail a car just really isn't practical. And for me, things like beach days where we want to leave things in our car and out of the sun, or shopping days where we'll be coming and going. And I know, eventually, you'll be able to just rent out a robotaxi for a day or whatever, but my ultimate point here is we're just too early for Elon's thought process about autonomy destroying personal car sales. And guys, listen, I get it. Eventually, there will come a time when Tesla can make significantly more money by placing vehicles on the Robotaxi network than it can selling them to customers. I'm all for that. My issue is, again, we are just too early. Tesla is not yet making 40 times the profits from robotaxis compared to customer sales. And now, just to be clear, CERN and I are on the same page. This is all in due time. I'm just using this as an example. Because, as I said, Tesla still needs the immediate cash flow from auto sales to customers and will for some time to fund the future business lines. Plus, private ownership does drive network effects and ecosystem loyalty. Think about things like home chargers, Powerwall, and brand awareness. So my whole point right now, why would Tesla lose any customers that still want to own their own vehicles? I just think Tesla can and should continue to do both. Make awesome vehicles they sell to customers and then put whatever other vehicles they want to on the Robotaxi network. Because guess what? I think the Model Y L would make for an incredible Robotaxi vehicle. I'm of the camp Tesla should be pursuing this hybrid approach for at least the next 1 to 3 years. Now look, maybe Elon ends up being right. Sometime toward the end of 2026, Tesla has most of the United States covered with somewhere around 1 million Robotaxis. And if that's the case, we'll be having a different conversation, but we're not there yet, and frankly, we're not even close. And again, I just want to make it very clear, I am not at all trying to take shots at CERN here. I actually think he's one of the best Tesla analysts that we have. And we really are on the same page. I was just using his posts as a way to show the arguments for both sides and to make my argument that I just think we're still too early. So yeah, I'll just say, if Tesla doesn't ever bring the Model Y L to the US, that would be a major missed opportunity. We are the land of big SUVs, and I just hate the idea of Tesla losing any amount of sales to Legacy Auto or anyone else because they became so obsessed with our autonomous future. And yes, I love that Tesla's focused on that, but it should not be to the detriment of good business now. Tesla has shown us they can do numerous things at the same time. I just don't think it has to be one or the other. And again, in the 2030s, as things grow and evolve and the mainstream population starts considering foregoing vehicle ownership, because robotaxis are ubiquitous, we can revisit this conversation. But the way I see it, that's not happening anytime soon, at least not for the masses. And I have extreme confidence the Model Y L could actually become Tesla's best seller in the US market. So to miss out on that type of brand awareness and coverage and ecosystem lock-in, to miss out on all of those sales generating upfront cash flow to fund the future business lines, and everything else that goes with it, is just, in my opinion, Elon's visionary mindset getting the best of him and causing him to underestimate what selling the Model Y L in the US could do for Tesla's business. Plus, again, all of those Model Y L sales and eventual trade-ins back to Tesla could serve as a premium robotaxi option for families or groups that want to travel together. It truly could be the best of both worlds. And look, if you want to say this is just Elon showing how bullish he is about unsupervised and autonomy in the United States, that's fine, be my guest. But as I've said, I am in prove it mode. I'm not overly interested in hearing about Elon's predictions or timelines. I just want to watch what Tesla does with its geofences, with overall vehicle fleet numbers, with when they open up to the public, and when they expand to new cities. For me right now, it's simple. Actions are going to speak way louder than any words. Now, on a more upbeat note, we should be getting the Model Y Performance release here shortly, which I am quite excited for. And I think there's a real chance that that vehicle gets some of the upgrades from the Model YL. Even just the black headliner, I think, would be a big victory, but things like adjustable headrests, the cooled charging pad, the adjustable thigh support, and now I'm not holding my breath, but it would be great to see Tesla incorporate at least some of this into the upcoming Model Y performance. We know Tesla needs to continually drive down the cost of all of its products, as Teslas are still out of reach for many people. But thanks to organizations like Chesed Chicago, now everyone has a chance to own any Tesla vehicle, including the Cybertruck, or a Rivian, or a Lucid, or $50,000 in cash. How? Through Chesed's 11th annual Tesla raffle, and this year, the prize pool includes some of the most sought after EVs on the market today. And yes, you can view all of the past winners of this raffle on the website. It's a win-win too. You get a shot at an awesome prize, and your ticket helps Chesed Chicago support families in crisis through 80+ life-saving programs, from food and furniture to job placement and more. And yes, I verified their nonprofit status and EIN. Only 9,999 tickets will be sold, and once they're gone or the drawing date hits, that's a wrap and no further entries will be accepted. The drawing is scheduled for this Labor Day, September 1st, 2025, so make sure to head to ccraffle.com as soon as possible and use my promo code Electrified to get $25 off 2 tickets or $500 off 15. That's ccraffle.com and code Electrified for your chance to win a Tesla or another luxury EV or $50,000 cash, and in the process you can help a great cause. Good luck.
And our experience was surprising. I mean, the Tesla drove much more autonomously, felt a lot more like a person was driving that. It was a very comfortable. There were no safety issues that we had in any of our rides. And it surprised me to the upside. I was pleasantly surprised by this experience. We've always said, the risk for Tesla is, can they use their expansive network and the training that they're doing in their system to then get to a safety that is similar to that of what Waymo is doing? And if they can, then the tech stack, the cost is much lower. And so we calculate it's about 1/10 that of Waymo. And their pricing was half that of Uber.
On that point, Vanity Fair did a piece with the co-CEO of Waymo, and she had some ridiculous comments. They were in a Waymo, and the reporter was poking fun at Elon and his attempts at Robotaxi, saying, "Can you believe he's trying this again?" when his self-driving cars need a human in the seat to keep from crashing. To which the Waymo co-CEO Mawakana said, "There's zero evidence of anything, and there's so much talk about it. We have a whole service across many cities, right? It's not just a play to have fanboys. It's a play to actually change people's lives." However, one paragraph later, they say Elon's cars start at $42,000, whereas Waymo's, outfitted with 29 cameras plus advanced radar, lasers, and sensors, can cost 7 times as much, which, yes, would be $294,000. Now, we don't know if that's outdated data. We don't know for what generation of Waymo vehicle that's for, but for whatever it's worth, that is the most recent comment we got from a media outlet that just spent plenty of time with the co-CEO of Waymo. But yeah, for her to disparage Elon and Tesla like that, I think is totally out of line. It comes from a place of arrogance, and quite frankly, really hurts my prospects of continuing to root for Waymo to make it. And yes, I know Waymo has plenty of engineers that are working hard, long hours to do the right thing, but as I've said, I still think this is going to be a famous last words situation sometime over the next few years. Jed also said that Waymo's and Zoox vehicles stood out like sore thumbs, whereas the Robotaxis blended in with other Teslas on the road. We felt inconspicuous flowing with the traffic. which most customers will prefer. And what do you know, yet another reviewer saying that Waymo feels more robotic. Plus some feedback we don't hear all the time. Jed said in the cabin of the Waymo you have to listen to an airline-esque preamble on Waymo and safety protocols. And during the ride you can hear all of the various spinning LiDAR sensors spooling up and down with electronic whizzing sounds. In short, the Robotaxi felt like a more luxurious service for half the cost, and the driving felt more human-like. Elon shared that video from Jed saying version 14 of Tesla self-driving feels sentient. And Elon added, Jed was just on version 13 for that review he gave. Version 14 is the second biggest update to Tesla AI Autopilot ever after version 12. It feels alive. Many of you will remember the jump from 11, the code-based heuristics, to version 12, which was the end-to-end neural net that really brought the entire discussion and feeling of human-like. So as we've experienced, that one truly was a breakthrough that had very, very noticeable differences. And what Elon is saying here is version 14 that we're supposed to have by the end of September is going to be close to that type of leap forward. So again, as I said, I will believe it when I see it and experience it, but for what it's worth, Elon is clearly very excited about version 14. And listen, I could pontificate, will this be the version the safety monitors are removed? Will this be the version where unsupervised is unlocked for the customer fleet once the regulations allow it? But the cold hard truth is right now, nobody really knows, and there's a world where not even Elon and the AI team know for sure exactly how that's all going to play out right now. We have Tesla Yoda, who has been hawking the Tesla careers page for the vehicle operator autopilot job listings, has noted that Tesla now has a job posting for Chicago. And yes, a quick fact check has confirmed this is real. Just to be clear, there are separate job listings that are titled vehicle operator for Robotaxi, but the only city where they have this job listing is in Austin. All of the rest are vehicle operators for autopilot. And guess what? You know who is not operating in or even testing in Chicago? Is Waymo. So Chicago could become one of the first cities where Tesla makes it to market before Waymo. Now, absolutely no guarantees here. Tesla could end up doing this data collection in Chicago for the next 6 to 9 months for all we know. And obviously Tesla has to fill this position before that starts, but encouraging nonetheless. ARK Invest put out a new blog post about autonomy and Tesla's robotaxi operations. Some of it is stuff we already know. I'll just highlight the new things. They said Tesla's service in Austin started June 22nd. It was then 21 days before the first expansion after that, and then 22 days for the second expansion after that one. We are currently 17 days removed from Tesla's last geofence expansion in Austin, which means if Tesla sticks to this cadence, we might see the next geofence expansion in Austin by the end of this weekend. Obviously, no guarantees Tesla sticks to that cadence, but I thought it was worth noting. A number to keep in the back of your mind, ARK Invest thinks that Tesla will need around 200,000 vehicles in the Austin market to cover all of the urban vehicle miles traveled. This, of course, would be a long-term play, but clearly an opportunity that far exceeds today's ride-hail market. Because remember, right now, ride-hail makes up only around 3% of the daily vehicle miles traveled in urban Austin. If you like to run your own analysis, this chart would be critical to understand. It goes over potential deadhead scenarios as a percent of total vehicle miles traveled, and that's with different average speeds. The redder cells would be a more inefficient fleet, meaning a higher percentage of the miles are deadhead or non-revenue earning, whereas the green ones would be the most efficient. So again, the base load fleet size is 176,000, but that number would need to change based on these sensitivities. So for example, if the average robotaxi traveled 14 miles per hour and 50% of those miles were deadhead non-revenue earning, Tesla would actually need 305,000 robotaxis in the Austin fleet. And on the other end of the spectrum, if robotaxis traveled 30 miles per hour on average and 0% of the miles were deadhead, Tesla would only need 76,000 vehicles in the Austin fleet to cover all of the urban miles traveled. So you can pause if you want to assess all of the different outcomes, but you can see the range would be between 76,000 and 305,000 vehicles needed to cover all annual miles miles traveled in Austin. And compared to Waymo, Tesla gathers 40 times more miles of real-world driving data per day from its FSD and around 900 times more from its global fleet. And here's the chart for my visual learners. And finally, when operating at scale, Tesla's cost per mile could be 30 to 50% lower than Waymo's. While Waymo took the early lead, we believe Tesla's end-to-end vision-only AI, vertically integrated manufacturing, and data advantages position it to dominate in the US and perhaps globally during the next few years. The weekly Tesla China data came in, which will become a bit more interesting over the next few weeks with the Model YL in the mix. But for last week, it was 14,000 compared to the same week in Q2. That number was 11,130. So quarter over quarter, Tesla China is up 60.4%. Year over year, Tesla China down 9.4%. And zooming out year to date, Tesla China down 5.7% year over year. On the Tesla configurator in China, you'll see this is translated, but a turn signal lever is now on the website, meaning all new Model 3s being sold in China now come with a turn signal stock. So will that change eventually come to North America? Perhaps, but so far it has not. Just anecdotally from me, I have fully adjusted to my Model 3 performance and having the turn signal on the wheel. This past week, I've driven my wife's new Model Y a couple times, which of course has the turn signal stock. And I can honestly say at this point, I do now prefer having the turn signals on the wheel. 99% of the time for me, it's just a bit more convenient. Tesla released a 3-minute video showing FSD supervised now testing in Japan. They said domestic release timing depends on our development status and regulatory authority approvals. There were some articles reporting on this, and some of them were actually saying that Tesla's started testing on public roads nationwide this summer. So Tesla has likely already been testing in Japan for at least a few weeks. So our list now consists of Spain, Japan, Italy, England, Netherlands, France, Australia, Canada, US, Mexico, China, Germany, Puerto Rico, New Zealand. A fun fact, Tesla said this testing of supervised in Yokohama City in the south of Tokyo was one of the first Japanese ports that was opened to foreign trade. It looks like Tesla is sending out invites to some people in Austin, inviting them to a factory tour of Giga Texas on August 29th. It's invite only, and they'll get to see Tesla's production process and experience supervised FSD with a vehicle from our latest lineup. There will be some giveaways and light refreshments. Now, who's being invited? I couldn't tell you. As Sawyer pointed out, Tesla is now offering the ability to lease certified pre-owned Teslas at pretty incredible rates. Plus, these vehicles are eligible to be bought out at the end of the lease. But right now, this is only available in Texas and California. But for Model 3 and Ys, as low as $225 per month with $0 down for 2 years, that's a pretty reasonable way to get behind the wheel of a Tesla. Tesla updated the referral program now. When somebody uses your code and buys a Model S and X, they'll get a $250 discount. And if they buy a Model 3Y or Cybertruck, they'll get 3 months of FSD. So my guess would be that once the tax credit goes away at the end of next month, Tesla's referral program may become a bit more exciting again after that. A judge just ruled that Tesla must face a certified class action by California drivers who have been arguing that Elon misled them for 8 years about, you guessed it, self-driving capabilities. U.S. Judge Rita Lynn said the common question of whether Tesla lacked sensors to achieve high-level autonomy plus its inability to demonstrate a long-distance autonomous drive with any of its vehicles justified group lawsuits by 2 sets of drivers who bought FSD. I do find it ironic that Tesla recently posted a video of a 7-hour drive where the driver didn't have to intervene once. The San Francisco-based judge said that thousands of people likely saw Tesla's claim in the autopilot section of its website that said its vehicles had hardware for full self-driving. But apparently she did not want to consider all of the places where Tesla made it clear that the driver was still always responsible. She said, while these channels alone alone may not ordinarily be enough to establish class-wide exposure for a traditional car manufacturer, Tesla's distinctive advertising strategy warrants a departure from the typical approach. Translation: because Tesla doesn't advertise, she's saying most customers would have gone to the Tesla website to get information. So this class is now free to pursue this action, according to the judge. There have already been changes in the Delaware courts. Here's one of them. Starting next month, Chancery court cases will be assigned to a judge in a random wheel spin method. This takes away the ability of judges like Chancellor Kathleen McCormick to cherry pick cases, which, yes, should really help to cut down on activism. Given the end of the EV tax credits, California is now considering backfilling the federal tax credits. The California Air Resources Board is considering new EV incentive gaps with point-of-sale rebates, vouchers, or other credits. CARB believes these sort of tax credit programs were essential to maintaining the sales flow of electrified models. So far, there's no detail on specifics or amounts. The 2026 Nissan Leaf EV is set to hit Nissan dealerships this fall with an MSRP of $29,990, the lowest starting MSRP for any new EV currently on sale in the US. The Leaf will have a range up to 303 miles. It'll have NACS as standard. It will have access to 20,000 Tesla superchargers. It has flush motorized door handles, a segment-first dimming panoramic roof, which can transition between opaque and transparent at the touch of a button. It has dual interior displays. The entry-level model has a 52 kilowatt-hour battery, and the higher trims have 75 kilowatt hours. And for autonomy, the Leaf will have Pro Pilot Assist, which is basically intelligent cruise control. The true entry-level trim, which is the S, has not been determined for the EPA range, but the S Plus is expected to start at that $29,900 and get 303 miles of range. Higher trims than that actually get less range because of features that are less efficient. But we definitely need options in this range, so I think the Leaf will have a chance to carve out a part of that market. Ford made some filings to the USPTO for these trademarks for Fathom, Fuse, Hive, and Mythic. So potentially upcoming electric vehicle names. Today, Ford also said it's delaying the production of batteries for EVs at its plant under construction in Memphis. Battery production at Blue Oval SK, they call it, will be delayed until 2027. The last public update we got was that that facility would be open later this year. So this is a 1 year plus delay. The Wall Street Journal said Elon pledged to start a political party, but he's already pumping the brakes. The article said Elon told allies he wants to focus his attention on his companies and is reluctant to alienate Republicans by starting a third party. But I'm not going to continue with this one because Elon commented saying nothing the Wall Street Journal says should ever be thought of as true. So if you were celebrating the idea the third party might be dead, I would just say I would not be so sure yet. Somebody shared a Grok imagine of a Cybertruck that was flying, to which Elon said maybe Tesla should make this. To which I would say it's not going to happen, not anytime soon. Farzad said he tried to take a Robotaxi this morning in Austin. The wait time was 37 minutes in North Austin. He said Tesla has to expand its fleet, especially with its next geofence expansion. Otherwise, wait times will cripple its usability. I think they're ready. I agree. Joe Tetmeyer said today there are reports of many Model Ys with Texas manufacturer plates and with somebody in the driver's seat testing in a new area outside of the current geofence on Loop 1. And yes, this is a highway. So hopefully this area gets looped into the geofence before the end of this weekend. Tesla stock closed the day at $323.90, down 1.64%, while the NDX was down 0.58%. The volume was 9% below the average. Don't forget, check out that Chesed Chicago raffle linked below, support a good cause, and hopefully win something incredible. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video. If you did, you can find me on X linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.